Chapter 1175. Back then, they were merely doing Worldwide and Emperor Sky a favor. After all, the two bosses gave them instructions, and Age of the Immortals was a tiny, powerless company. It didn't matter whether they came or not, and no one would care, so they were naturally happy to oblige. However, who knew that such a tiny, lousy company would end up winning both Best Actor and Best Actress? Best Actor even produced two like a double-yolked egg. Now, they had no choice but to quickly coax the people back. Otherwise, tonight's Golden Orchid Banquet would become the biggest laughing stock. Many people had already formed groups of 3 or 5 and were talking about it. Why aren't our Best Actor and Best Actress here yet? I heard they didn't get an invitation. Didn't get an invitation? Are you joking with me? Age of the Immortals was founded by the former young heir of Emperor Sky Entertainment. Do you understand now? No wonder. Emperor Sky Entertainment probably exerted some pressure then. Worldwide probably had a hand in it. Didn't Yi Bai jump from Worldwide's ship? It's just that both agencies probably never expected the intensely fought over Best Actor and Best Actress awards would end up in Age of the Immortals' hands. PFT, this is going to be a giant show. Suddenly, a shocked exclamation was heard from the entrance. A group of people with Yi Mufan in the lead started entering the hall. Rolling waves of gasps reverberated in the hall. Everyone who attended tonight's banquet was experienced in the entertainment industry and was used to seeing handsome men and beautiful women, but their entrance was still breathtaking for them. No wonder Age of the Immortals was crowned with the title, Heavenly Group of Breathtaking Beauties, by netizens. The effects of Han Xianyu, Gong Su, and Luo Qin together were frightening enough already. The newly crowned Best Actress also had superb good looks. Yet, both of the behind-the-scenes senior managers were also blindingly handsome. The manager, Yi Bai, especially. He actually wasn't inferior in any respect amongst those eye-catching celebrities. Although he kept a low profile, his aura was the strongest. Other people could clearly feel that Age of the Immortals revolved around him. A senior manager from the organizers quickly went up to receive them with a smile. You're all finally here. Yi Mufan returned a superficial diplomatic smile. My sincere apologies. We had to turn around at the last minute and rush back here, so we arrived late. The senior manager coughed lightly. Ahem, it's fine, it's fine. It was our lack of consideration. After a round of polite chatting, the embarrassment eased up slightly. Suddenly, a figure swiftly shot out from the crowd and started shouting with large gesticulations, "Damn it! Gong Su, you punk! When I was previously nominated as Best Supporting Actor, you freaking slaughtered me in insults and yelled at me for leaving the team and betraying you. Now, look at you. You silently ran off to win a Best Actor. Where's the promise treading on life's journey together as brothers and whoever wins an award first is a dog?" Gong Su rolled his eyes. Shoo! Tang Xingho, you loser who has shit acting skills but still doesn't try to improve. My brother Yi doesn't let me play with you. Damn! You're prioritizing your hoes before your bros. Wait, isn't there something wrong with what I just said? Anyway, you punk, don't even think about escaping tonight. Get over here. Tang Xingho promptly dragged Gong Su away to start drinking. Yi Mufan and Yi Wanwan and their group were busy entertaining everyone when they saw Grandfather Yi slowly walking out from the crowd with the glowering Yi Shaoan and Yi Yi behind him. Yi Hongwei had a solemn expression. Mufan. Yi Mufan quickly went up. Grandpa. Yi Hongwei revealed a rare praising look as he looked at his grandson. You did quite well this time. Thank you, Grandpa. It's all because you taught me well. Yi Mufan flattered him. Chapter 1176. Yi Mufan's flattery evidently worked like a charm on Yi Hongwei. Countless people have already sought him out tonight and complimented Yi Mufan and expressed their admiration that he had a grandson like that, so he was naturally in a good mood. His eldest son's mistake and his only grandson's slovenliness had always been the largest knot in his heart. Yi Hongwei turned to look at the person next to Yi Mufan, Yi Wanwan. This is that director of the talent recruitment department at your company, Yi Bai? Yi Hongwei stared at Yi Wanwan for a few seconds with suspicion, perhaps finding her familiar looking, but he didn't think too much about it. Yi Mufan coughed and secretly commended his sister for her superb disguise and acting skills. Even her own grandpa didn't recognize her. That's right, Grandpa. Yi Mufan quickly introduced, Yi Bai, this is my grandfather, the chairman of the board at Emperor Sky Entertainment. Yi Wanwan followed Yi Mufan's lead and naturally greeted their grandfather. Chairman Yi, hello. Yi Hongwei nodded with admiration in his eyes. The rising generation is to be reckoned with. Mr. Yi is so young yet you have achieved so much already. You're truly worthy of respect. Yi Wanwan turned on her diplomatic praising mode. Chairman Yi, you flatter me. Miss Yi is the actual intelligent and outstanding person here. Yi Hongwei glanced at his granddaughter next to him with some disappointment in his eyes. Yi was rather decent, but she still had a ways to go to catch up to this young man in front of him. Yi had to rely on the Titan, Emperor Sky Entertainment, to stand behind her and her status as the eldest miss of the Yi family to end up her director position. Yi Bai was different though. Director Yi, you're too humble. How could Yi compare to you? You have no one but yourself, and you had to build up from nothing. But in a mere year, you gradually went from a tiny manager to your current position. Your strategic skills and keen foresight are beyond the grasp of normal people. Then Yi Hongwei sighed and added, if my two grandchildren could have but a mere tenth of your skill, I could be at ease. When Yi Shaoan heard that, his face looked awful. How could his father compliment a damn punk who came out of nowhere like that and even belittle Yi? Yi suppressed the darkness in her heart and said with a faint smile, Grandfather is right, I still have many things to learn from Director Yi. I wonder if I can have more exchanges with Director Yi in the future. Yi Wanwan smiled and said, that's too much. I'm just lucky. Yi Hongwei was evidently more satisfied by Yi Bai's lack of conceitedness and rashness. Director Yi, you helped Mufan a lot this time. Allow me to salute you with a cup. Yi Mufan quickly interjected, he can't drink due to his allergy to alcohol. A life was nearly lost after he drank last time. Nearly caused us all to lose our lives, that is. Yi Hongwei uttered, well then, Yi Mufan quickly urged a waiter to bring a cup of tea over. Yi Wanwan exasperatedly glanced at the tense Yi Mufan and had no choice but to accept the tea. My sincere apologies, I shall substitute with tea then. Yi imperceptibly exchanged a look with Yi Shaoan before stepping forward as well. She intently looked at Yi Wanwan and gently said, Director Yi, I'd also like to salute you. Director Yi is truly fearsome, I've always wanted to seek instruction from you. Now that we finally got the chance to meet today, why don't we sit down on the side and have an in-depth conversation? Yi Wanwan's brows minutely raised. What does Yi want? She can't possibly want to seduce me, right? In Yi's view, Yi Mufan was able to stand where he was today because Yi Bai was there. If she poached Yi Bai, then Yi Mufan was done for. That did sound like something Yi and Yi Shaoan would do. Chapter 1177. As soon as Yi Mufan heard Yi's words, he immediately shot to high vigilance and defensively stood in front of Yi Wanwan. Sorry, he doesn't have time. Then he turned to seek permission from his grandfather. Grandfather, Yi Bai and I will go over there to greet a friend. Yi Hongwei nodded. Go on. Yi Mufan quickly led Yi Wanwan away. Discuss my ass. A person who is unaccountably solicitous is hiding evil intentions. I could tell Yi wanted to seduce you with a glance. Yi Mufan cursed as he walked. Yi Wanwan gave him side-eye. What are you so nervous about? Could I possibly be seduced? Yi Mufan was startled and thought about it. Oh, right. Yi thought she was so clever and wanted to poach the corner of his wall. What she didn't know was that Yi Bai wasn't the corner of his wall, Yi Bai was the entire house. If you're so capable, poach even the cooking pots. For tonight's banquet, the organizers reserved the entire Jialan bar and decorated the entire bar in a dreamy and luxurious style. By the bar counters, guests chatted over drinks in groups. In the hall, all the magnates conversed cheerfully. The sound of music was heard, and everyone invited each other to dance on the dance floor. There was a group of young men and women surrounding Yi Bai. Many girls were itching to take the initiative to invite Yi Bai to dance. Gong Su forcibly squeezed himself inside. Brother Yi. Brother Yi. Let's dance. Tang Xingho showed his distaste. Please, who wants to dance with a guy like you? Gong Su looked indignant and said, so what if I'm a guy? Who said two guys can't dance together? At worst, I'll dance the female part. Yi Wanwan's lips twitched, and she directly ignored Gong Su. She walked to Jiang Yanran and courteously extended her hand. May I? Jiang Yanran's fangirl heart nearly leaped out of her chest. She frantically nodded, placed her hand on Wanwan's hand and followed Wanwan onto the dance floor. Behind them, Gong Su's resentment was about to burst out in apparition form. They only see the new love smile but never hear the old love cry. Tang Xingho broke into loud laughter. Why do you sound like some resentful concubine from an emperor's harem? You're the resentful concubine. Your whole family is resentful concubines. This young master is the empress. Gong Su glared at Tang Xingho before scurrying to Han Xianyu for justice. Brother Xianyu, don't you think Brother Yi is being too biased? Han Xianyu was dazedly looking at the dance floor with a glass of red wine in his hand. Brother Xianyu, what are you looking at? Did you hear what I said? Only then did Han Xianyu turn to look at him. What did you say? Gong Su's face darkened. Forget it. I'm done with you. Your mind hasn't been online the entire day. Han Xianyu's brows raised. My mind hasn't been online tonight. Fei Yang bobbed his head with a wine glass of his own. It hasn't. Xianyu, are you alright? Something felt weird to him. Yi Wanwan had finished dancing a song with Jiang Yanran and was returning. As soon as they left the dance floor, a cute girl with sweet looks ran toward Yi Wanwan. This girl was one of the nominees of the Golden Orchid Award for Best Actress this year, Han Qingling. Director Yi, hello, Han Qingling shy greeted. Yi Wanwan looked at her. Hello. Han Qingling's cheeks were red, and she turned to look at a spot behind her. There were several celebrities standing together who were currently heckling and teasing her. Han Qingling took a deep breath and finally gathered her courage to ask, Director Yi, can you give me your private phone number? Chapter 1178 Han Qingling added, we were playing Truth or Dare and I lost, so I was requested to ask for your number. Gong Su promptly snorted. What Truth or Dare? Playing a game was false, but asking for a number was the real truth. This trick was rottingly old. If she liked him, then why not be straightforward? Why was she going through so many hoops? Yi Wanwan looked conflicted. It truly wasn't convenient for her to give her private number to people, but it was also hard to reject a girl's request. Han Xianyu suddenly walked over and pulled out a business card from his inside pocket and handed it to Han Qingling. He gently said, sorry, it's not too convenient for Yi Bai. How about I give you mine? This is my private number. Han Qingling stared dazedly at Han Xianyu's face, which was gentle like a spring breeze, and her face blushed fiery red. Yes. Of course that works. Only after Han Qingling finished talking did she remember that the dare was to get Yi Bai's number. However, this was Han Xianyu's private number. This wasn't a loss. Han Qingling instantly left with the number, feeling satisfied. Behind them, Fei Yang foolishly stared at Han Xianyu. Damn. Something's wrong. There's absolutely something wrong with Xianyu. Han Xianyu was a rare clear stream in the industry. He never had rumors and always maintained his distance between himself and female celebrities. Very few people knew his private number. In order to help Yi Bai get out of trouble, he didn't hesitate to give his private number to some girl. Yi Wanwan breathed a sigh of relief and clinked her juice with Han Xianyu's cup. Thank you. No problem. Gong Su felt pain gripping his heart. Damn it. I've lost. You can perform that kind of maneuver? Old ginger is still spicier than young ginger. I should have gone up myself. Tang Xingho mercilessly undermined him. Your private number is utterly worthless, okay? Yi Mufan couldn't help but whisper to Yi Wanwan. Ah, Han Xianyu is truly quite decent. Wanwan, won't you think about it? Yi Wanwan rolled her eyes at her brother. Why do you keep wanting to break up an affectionate couple? Yi Mufan rubbed his nose. For no reason other than because that punk looks like a troublemaker based on his looks alone, then don't I look more like a troublemaker? In some nearby corner, Yi Shaoan was chillingly staring at Yi Mufan and Yi Wanwan. Yi, are you confident? Yi hummed. Yi Bai's thinking is too deep. I truly can't get a good grasp of it, but I'll try my best. Yi Shaoan looked contemptuous. A person like him strives for either money or power. Whatever Yi Mufan can provide for him, we can give it in 100 or 1,000-fold. As long as we can give a good price, why wouldn't we succeed in poaching him? Yi frowned. The feeling that Yi Bai gave her was truly too threatening. A person who could climb to this height within a year naturally wasn't anyone ordinary. What if he declines? Yi asked. Yi Shaoan looked arrogant. Decline? Why would he decline? Unless he's an idiot. But does Yi Bai look like an idiot to you? Anyway, my dear daughter, how could it be a failure when you're going yourself? Yi nodded, agreeing with Yi Shaoan's point. A moment later, Yi found an opportunity when Yi Bai was by himself and silently walked toward him. Because Yi Wanwan couldn't drink, she was standing by the pastries, looking for something to eat. When she turned around, she discovered Yi had walked toward her at some point in time. Chapter 1179. Yi Wanwan nodded in greeting. Miss Yi. There was an elegant and graceful smile on Yi's face. Director Yi. Say, it must be a stroke of fate that Director Ye's surname is also Yi. Perhaps we share a common ancestor. A sneer rose on Yi Wanwan's face at Yi's method of claiming familiarity. Is that so? May I ask Director Yi a question? Yi Wanwan answered, of course. Why must Director Yi follow Yi Mufan so staunchly and loyally? Director Yi must know the rumors about Mufan, right? Is this question important? Yi smiled. I just find it a pity. A fine bird chooses a flourishing tree to nest in. A talented individual like Director Yi deserves a better platform. Yi Wanwan swished the juice in her cup and furtively said, Miss Yi wants to poach me? Yi didn't expect Yi Wanwan to be so direct and forego any roundabouts. I wager there's no one who doesn't want to recruit talent like Director Yi, right? However, I'm afraid there aren't many companies who can give the appropriate price except for our Emperor Sky. Yi Wanwan nodded. May I ask, what price is Miss Yi prepared to give me? Upon seeing an opportunity, Yi turned joyous and quickly said, I can give you terms that are second only to Zhu Boyang. Zhu Boyang was the chief golden manager at Emperor Sky Entertainment. He took 20 years to reach that position, but Yi was giving Yi Wanwan terms that were second only to Zhu Boyang. Yi was truly putting in her capital. As though Yi was certain Yi Bai would be tempted, she continued to confidently say, of course, the condition is that you must bring Luo Chen, Gong Su, and Jiang Yanran over to Emperor Sky. If you can also bring Han Xianyu and Fei Yang over, you can list whatever terms you want. Yi Wanwan abruptly chuckled. List whatever I want. That's right. Yi Wanwan sipped some of her bright red strawberry juice, the redness further adding to the alluring quality of her exquisite and gorgeous face. However, I'm afraid you can't afford the terms I want. Yi smiled. You can try us, Director Yi. If Emperor Sky Entertainment can't afford it, I'm afraid not many other companies could afford it, no? Yi Wanwan stared at her, the humor in her eyes gradually transforming into icy snow. Then she stressed every word as she said, what if, the terms I want is, the entire Yi family. Yi Yi's confident expression promptly froze, even her perpetual elegance and graceful mask shattered and transformed into rage. You! Yi Bai! What a big appetite you have! He actually wants the entire Yi family. Is he mad? Yi Wanwan smiled. Apologies, eldest Miss Yi. If you want to poach me, then fulfill my requests. Otherwise, let's not waste time. Yi Yi's expression was as dark as the bottom of a pot as she watched Yi Bai leaving languidly. Since their conversation had reached this point, it naturally couldn't continue. Yi Yi swiftly returned to the corner to Yi Shaoan. Yi, how'd it go? Yi Shaoan urgently asked. If they were able to poach Yi Bai, then Yi Mufan would be a toothless tiger and everything would be readily solved. Yi Bai said. Yi Shaoan rashly interrupted, said what? We can agree to any of his requests. Even if he wants to be above Zhu Boyong, it's not out of the question. He said. Unless we give him the entire Yi family. Chapter 1180 Wanwan, what did you say to Yi Yi? Her face looks like a piece of coal. Yi Mufan quickly asked when he saw Yi Wanwan returning. Yi Wanwan shrugged. I didn't say anything. She wanted to poach me and told me to raise my terms, so I told her to give me the entire Yi family. Yi Mufan's lips twitched. You're so ruthless. No wonder Yi Yi was angered to that extent. Yi Wanwan casually picked up a drink from the bar, and Yi Mufan immediately snatched the cup from her before replacing it with another cup. That drink has some alcohol. Drink this instead. It's mango juice. I requested a waiter to freshly squeeze it for you. I already have a stomach of juices. About half an hour later, everyone had loosened after some alcohol in their system and the atmosphere had reached its peak. According to the norm, there were still activities later, and they typically wouldn't finish until the wee hours of the morning. Yi Wanwan glanced at the time on her phone before she said to Yi Mufan, Brother, I won't join the festivities later. Yi Mufan grumbled, Why are you leaving so early? To accompany my man and son. Yi Mufan wished nothing more than to slap himself. Why did you run your mouth off and have to ask? Yi Wanwan chuckled. You all won't allow me to leave drunk, so there's nothing wrong with me going home to accompany my man and son, right? Yi Mufan didn't have a rebuttal to that. Yi Wanwan's private phone suddenly started ringing. It was a call from Su Yi. Yi Wanwan's gaze shifted instantly. Something didn't happen to see Yihan again, right? Brother, I need to take a call. Yi Wanwan quickly took the call in a quieter area. Hello. Steward Su, what's up? As soon as the call connected, Su Yi's tearful voice transmitted from the other end. Miss Wanwan, can you please restrain yourself, huh? What about me? Yi Wanwan was bewildered. Su Yi mumbled, Gossip about you and Miss Jiang Yanran is flying everywhere. And all those girls on the internet are screaming to have sex with me and birth my children? You also know. Yi Wanwan looked innocent. I'm also very helpless, alright? Didn't I present myself as male to people because I was afraid my face would attract the opposite sex? You also thought this was a great idea back then. That's because I was too naive, then. What's going on with you and the artists under you, Gong Su and Luo Chen? Yi Wanwan was speechless. What could happen between us? They're both men, Su Yi sighed. Miss Wanwan, you should look at the news, huh? Yi Wanwan suspiciously pulled up a web page on her phone and searched up some keywords. After she finished reading the newest gossip released, she nearly went blind. Was the media these days all so imaginative? She could handle gossip about her and Jiang Yanran since groundless gossip between men and women were too common in this industry. No matter how cautious you were, the reporters themselves would imagine some romantic rumors. After the popularity passed, no one would pay attention to them anymore, so it was insignificant. However, associating her with Luo Chen and Gong Su. The person behind this maneuver probably wanted to execute her. Male senior management wanting to have illicit affairs with male celebrities. This was a scandal that could bring about her obliteration. At that time, it wouldn't only affect Yi Bai. All the male artists under Yi Bai would also be implicated. Chapter 1181. As though it was premeditated, the rumor invaded the internet like a nest of bees in an extremely short amount of time. It soon entered the ranks of the popular searches and, what's trending. What was most ludicrous was that someone revealed a leak in the hottest post, claiming that Yi Bai was not only gay and liked men, but that he was also a pervert who liked to secretly wear female clothes in private. Yi Wanwan, from a certain point of view, there was indeed nothing false about those words. She did like men and also liked to wear female clothes. There were probably a lot of celebrities at the dinner banquet who saw these rumors already, so they were currently giving her meaningful looks. Steward Su, I understand. I'll figure out a way to resolve it. Yi Wanwan had just hung up Su Yi's call and returned when Yi Mufan quickly asked, Wanwan, have you seen the rumors on the internet yet? Yi Wanwan nodded. I just saw them. Yi Mufan was glowering. Damn it. It must be the work of Yi Yi and the others. Gong Su stared at his phone and nearly blew off his top. Damn it, what the hell? They're the perverts. What's up with the rumors about you liking to wear female clothes? It seems like they accidentally leaked out from the company group chat last time, but we were just making a bet and saying you'd wear female clothes if you lost, okay? How did it turn into you liking to wear female clothes in private? Brother Yi, don't worry, I just made a Weibo post with screenshots of the entire conversation to clear your name. Yi Wanwan felt her heart growing warm at Gong Su's extremely infuriated appearance. Clear what name? Of course it's to clear up those rumors and tell them that you don't have that kind of lousy hobby. No need. Why no need? Gong Su frowned. What man could tolerate this kind of rumor? Yi Wanwan casually glanced at him. What if they aren't rumors? Gong Su was startled and dazedly looked at Yi Wanwan. Huh? What do you mean? What if I do like men and have a hobby of wearing female clothes? Gong Su instantly froze when he heard the second half of her sentence. Huh? He knew Brother Yi liked men, but liking to wear female clothes. Gong Su stood there, dumbfounded. Who knew what he was wildly thinking, but his face started blushing. And no way, right? Seriously? Brother Yi, you really have that kind of hobby? Gong Su's expression was indescribable. Yi Wanwan chuckled at Gong Su's frightened expression. Gong Su relaxed when he heard that and resentfully said, Brother Yi, you're playing with me. Yi Wanwan didn't explain and straightened her expression. Gong Su, you won Best Actor, so I'll fulfill your first wish now. First wish? Gong Su was confused briefly before his eyes lit up brightly. Brother Yi, you're saying, you'll let me see Little Candied Plum? Yes. Perhaps because bliss came too suddenly, but Gong Su only processed it after being stunned for half a day. Seriously? Brother Yi, don't joke with me. When? Where? Yi Wanwan fixed her sleeves as she said, about 15 minutes later, here. Then she walked toward the door. Yi Mufan hastily caught up and quietly asked, Wanwan, you're really gonna let that punk see Little Candied Plum? I promised him. Chapter 1182. Yi Mufan grumbled, can't you just, casually pacify him about it? Yi Wanwan wore a solemn expression. A very important thing in a child's education is that you must fulfill whatever you promised the child. Yi Mufan's lips twitched. A child's education. I think you're too deep into your pretend mother role. However, with Gong Su's IQ, there weren't any issues with applying child education strategies to him. After Yi Mufan finished roasting them, he worriedly asked, Wanwan, are you doing this because of those rumors on the internet? Yi Wanwan said, those rumors are complete hearsay and won't cause too much of an impact. I can resolve things with some public relations, it'd just be a little troublesome. But even without those rumors, I was already preparing to find an opportunity to reveal my identity, so why not today? It wasn't like whether she cross-dressed or not made any difference to Si Yihan, so it was time to show her hand to the Yi family. Everyone happened to be there today, so she could take care of it all at once. It was convenient. Yi Mufan could see the point in it, so he didn't say anything. He merely grumbled, "That punk, Gong Su, gets a reward for doing nothing. Where are the keys to the van? My clothes and makeup box is in the trunk." "It's with Dong Zai, I'll go with you." Inside the banquet venue, Gong Su dragged Luo Chen toward him. "Blockhead. Quick, come here. Look at me." Luo Chen frowned. "What?" "Take a good look at me. Look clearly. What do you feel?" Luo Chen hesitated for a moment before he asked, "You are green again?" Gong Su's face turned dark instantly. "Blah. I'm asking you how I look. Are my clothes suitable? Is my hair messy? How's my skin? Is there a pimple on my chin?" Tang Xingho snorted out loud. "I say, Gong Su, what screw went loose this time?" Gong Su looked like a lovesick girl as he excitedly exclaimed, I'm about to see my goddess." Tang Xingho raised his brows. "Your goddess? Who's your goddess?" Gong Su rolled his eyes. "Don't you know who my goddess is?" Could it be the one you've been looking for? That little, that's right. It's my little candied plum. Brother Yi promised me that he'd let me see little candied plum if I won Best Actor. He also told me little candied plum would be here soon." After saying that, Gong Su anxiously looked at the doorway. Tang Xingho's eyes also brightened, and his interest was piqued. "She actually managed to mesmerize you so that you mentioned her every day and stopped you from partying a whole year. Just how pretty is little candied plum?" Gong Su looked at him disdainfully. "Pretty? How utterly superficial. Are you uneducated? Can my little candied plum be merely described as pretty?" Tang Xingho humbly sought instruction. "Then how should I describe her?" Gong Su seriously contemplated for a bit. Very, 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 very pretty." Tang Xingho's lips twitched. "You're truly not superficial and very educated." Outside the minibus, Yi Mufan was smoking as he waited responsibly. Yi Wanwan changed very swiftly and finished everything in less than 10 minutes. The sound of the door opening came from behind Yi Mufan. Yi Mufan quickly squeezed the cigarette in his hand and stomped it out with his foot before he turned around. Chapter 1183, You finished. Yi Mufan's voice trailed off when he saw his sister. He rarely saw his sister wearing women's clothes, aside from during the occasional visit to see their grandfather and grandmother at the old residence. Yi Wanwan was wearing a black, form-fitting designer gown with a lace choker wrapped around her fair neck which was slender like a swan. Her dark, wavy hair languidly draped over her shoulders. Except for the makeup that intentionally turned her face more severe and striking, her face was unmade and without a single flaw. Her skin was white like snow, her brows were like a painting, her pink lips were like peach blossoms in March, and her glistening eyes looked like they were reflecting a galaxy of stars. The phrase, absolutely unrivaled and world-turningly alluring, surfaced in Yi Mufan's mind. The girl before him looked more stunning than when he saw her at grandfather's birthday banquet. He was already very shocked when he saw her sudden transformation at grandfather's birthday banquet. However, in a mere year, this girl underwent an even more astonishing transformation. It wasn't only her appearance but also her entire aura. It was as though she had struggled through her cocoon layers and revealed her colorfully captivating wings, completing her metamorphosis into a butterfly. "Brother, does this look okay?" Yi Wanwan adjusted her lace collar. "I originally did prepare a pink dress, but after struggling for half a day, I decided I really couldn't wear such a youthful color, so I changed my mind." She remembered she used to quite like pink and light colors. Perhaps due to her growing age and her job, she became increasingly intolerable of colors that were too feminine. Instead, she grew to prefer black more and more. Yi Mufan promptly shook his head. "Not okay. It's too revealing." Yi Wanwan's lips twitched. "I only revealed a shoulder." That's still not okay. Go back in and change into something else. I happen to have a spare outfit in the trunk. Let me get it for you. Yi Mufan quickly took out a bag from the trunk. Wear this. It looks good. Yi Mufan confidently swore. Yi Wanwan was doubtful but still accepted it out of her professional faith in Yi Mufan. Then, Yi Wanwan took out a colorful dress from the bag. This dress was practically a color wheel, there were at least several hundreds of colorful flowers. It was also long-sleeved and high-collared, the tail of the dress nearly reaching her heels. It was utterly stinging to the eyes. This flowery dress was more terrifying than Gong Su's white ribbon dress. Yi Wanwan distastefully stuffed the dress back into Yi Mufan's arms. I say, God Felix, how could you treat your real sister like this? Yi Mufan stubbornly said, no. Wanwan, take another good look at it. This dress is truly very pretty. It's fashionable, it's unique. You don't understand, Yi Wanwan shrugged. Then you should keep it for yourself to admire. Inside the banquet venue, Tang Xingho painfully shoved away Gong Su's face. Stop hounding. You've asked 800 times already. You're very handsome right now. You're really, 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 really handsome, alright? Seriously. What fairy managed to mesmerize our young Master Gong like this? Tang Xingho was currently pacifying the unsettled Gong Su when he saw something in his periphery. Yi Mufan was saying something to the staff member in charge of receiving guests, Xiao Qing. Then Xiao Qing nodded with a big grin. Yi Mufan returned back outside before escorting a girl back inside a few seconds later. Chapter 1184. When the girl next to Yi Mufan stepped in the banquet hall, the entire hall turned silent. They originally thought the newly crowned Best Actress was good-looking enough already, but she instantly turned plain-looking when compared to this girl before them. Even Lin Qingran, who held the title, #1 beauty, in the entertainment industry, couldn't compare to this girl. If Lin Qingran was light from fireflies, then this girl was the midday sun. Even though it was just a black gown, it didn't dim her brilliance in the slightest. She somehow managed to carry the dark color in an eye-catching manner and was arrogantly beautiful. A few seconds later, noise returned to the venue as countless people started talking and scouting information about her. Who's the girl next to Yi Mufan? Someone in the industry? I don't think I've seen her before. Could it be a rookie from Age of the Immortals? Their face score is heaven-defying, isn't it? Ahem, why are all the artists under Age of the Immortals so incredibly good-looking? Could it be that a hard requirement for entering Age of the Immortals is having a high face score? Don't guess blindly. Based on Yi Mufan's cautious and nervous attitude, she doesn't look like a normal artist under his agency. Could she be his female companion? Female companion? But they don't look that much like a couple. Currently, Gong Su was frozen like a petrified statue as he stared at the girl next to Yi Mufan. Fuck me. Be beauty. Isn't that girl too pretty? Tang Xingho, who had just been roasting Gong Su for being uneducated, realized his vocabulary was also very poor for the first time. He really couldn't find any other word to describe her besides pretty. Tang Xingho's eyes were shining as he quickly asked Luo Chen and Gong Su, hey, who's the girl next to Felix? Why haven't I ever seen her before? Please introduce me and give me her number. The second Tang Xingho finished speaking, the dazed Gong Su turned his head and maliciously glared at Tang Xingho. Tang Xingho, you want to die? Tang Xingho speechlessly turned to Gong Su, who looked like a hungry wolf protecting its prey. Why are you so emotional? It's not like I'm hitting on your wife. Gong Su glared at him. She's my little candied plum. Tang Xingho was shocked. What did you say? She's your little candied plum. Yi Mufan unwillingly escorted Yi Wanwan toward Gong Su. With every step the girl took toward him, Gong Su's heart quickened a little bit. By the time she and Yi Mufan were standing in front of him, he felt like his heart was about to leap out of his chest and fly toward her. He thought his feelings for little candied plum had lessened. But this re-encounter made him realize his feelings hadn't changed at all. Yi Mufan brought Yi Wanwan to Gong Su and impatiently said, "You've already seen the person. Now you can leave and return to your daily life." Gong Su was racking his mind for an opening remark but was interrupted by Yi Mufan. Old hatred and new enmities instantly mixed. "Yi Mufan. Do you want to fight?" Yi Mufan smiled and rotated his wrists. "Heh. I wasn't too interested at first, but I don't mind keeping you company if you want to." Yi Wanwan glanced exasperatedly at Yi Mufan. "Brother." Yi Mufan instantly put away his fangs at his sister's warning. "It was this punk who wanted to fight with me." Gong Su, who was yowling for a fight with Yi Mufan, felt like he was struck by lightning when he heard the girl calling Yi Mufan brother. He dazedly stared at her. What did you just call Yi Mufan brother?" Yi Wanwan replied, "Yes. He's my elder brother." Chapter 1185. Gong Su was dumbstruck by the girl's answer. His face was full of disbelief. This irritating guy was actually Little Candied Plum's brother. Wasn't Little Candied Plum's brother Yi Bai? What did Yi Mufan have to do with her? Gong Su foolishly stared at Yi Mufan. You're Little Candied Plum's brother? How's that possible?" "I'm truly sorry, I'm her brother indeed. I'm also her real brother from the same dad and mom." Yi Mufan emphasized the real brother part. Real brother? Gong Su suddenly recalled Yi Mufan really had a sister, but how could he have predicted that the little candied plum he had been persistently searching for would turn out to be Yi Mufan's sister? Moreover, although Yi Bai said little candied plum was his sister, he didn't say whether she was his real sister or a cousin. Shit! What if Yi Mufan is the genuine elder brother-in-law? Aren't I screwed? Isn't this too illogical? Little candied plum clearly resembles Yi Bai more. While Yi Mufan was preparing to fight 300 rounds with Gong Su, his phone rang. Yi Mufan worriedly walked in front of Yi Wanwan and cautiously stared at Gong Su as he ordered, "I'm going to take a call. Be careful of this punk. Don't believe a single word he says. Understand?" Yi Wanwan dryly glanced at Yi Mufan. "I merely changed my clothes. I didn't change a brain." Yi Mufan blinked. "Oh, right." When Yi Wanwan said that, hesitation glinted in Gong Su's eyes. "Why do I feel like little candied plum was very handsome just now?" As soon as Yi Mufan left, Gong Su took the opportunity to step closer to little candied plum. The person he had spent so long searching for had finally appeared in person before him. He felt like he was dreaming. Hello. Do you still remember me? You gave me a box of candied plums in front of the dessert shop that day." Yi Wanwan nodded. "I remember. I just didn't know you were a celebrity back then." Gong Su felt a blush creeping over his face. "What celebrity?" "I'm just messing around," Yi Wanwan chuckled. "I saw the Golden Orchid Awards award ceremony. You're a very professional actor worthy of respect. You're truly worthy of the title Best Actor." Gong Su's eyes shone immediately, and he felt vigor furiously filling his body. Really? At that moment, he felt like all the pain he suffered while shooting that film was worth it. He also understood the meaning behind Yi Bai's words back then. He was incredibly glad he worked hard previously so he didn't look so scraggy in front of the person he liked. Gong Su scratched his head. "I was in too much of a hurry that day, so I didn't have time to thank you. Later, I kept searching for you." Tang Xingho watched Gong Su tripping over himself while talking to her, and Tang Xingho became speechless. "Oh my god. Luo Chen, pinch me. I'm seeing things, right? Is this really still Gong Su?" He didn't confess or ask for the girl's number within 3 sentences. He's innocently scrambling for things to say like a virgin. Gong Su immediately glared at his bad friend. "Quiet. This young master has always been pure." Luo Chen wasn't at all concerned about Gong Su's reaction. He was more concerned about looking at the girl. "Is it my imagination? Why, do I feel like this girl gives me a very familiar feeling? At this moment, Yi Mufan finished his call and swiftly returned. Who called? Yi Wanwan asked offhandedly. Chapter 1186. 1186 Yi Mufan asked, do you know Kong Jiaming? The one who directed Extraordinary Attack. Yi Wanwan replied. Yi Mufan nodded. That's right, him. Director Kong just called and said he had a screenplay on hand that suited Gong Su and Luo Chen a lot, so he wanted to invite them to shoot it. Yi Wanwan asked with interest, really? What kind of script? Director Kong's war films are quite well done. Yi Mufan clicked on his phone. Look at it yourself. Here's the outline of the screenplay that they sent over just now. The script is written by Zheng Hui. I read the synopsis and think it's quite decent. The roles also fit Gong Su and Luo Chen a lot. When Gong Su, Luo Chen, and Tang Xingho saw Yi Mufan showing Yi Wanwan the screenplay, they just thought the girl was interested in the entertainment industry and didn't think too much about it. Yi Wanwan soon finished skimming the outline. How is it? Quite nice, right? Yi Mufan asked. Yi Wanwan nodded. The screenplay is quite nice, but it's not suited for Gong Su and Luo Chen. Why? Yi Mufan didn't understand. It's another combination of an officer and prodigal, and it overlaps with a life and death struggle. The first time is a classic, but we can't possibly surpass the first time with a second time. Instead, it'd be all too easy to get typecast and it'd be disadvantageous if they wanted to play other roles in the future. I think Gong Su and Luo Chen can attempt a breakthrough with their current situation and try out different roles. Luo Chen, especially, is capable enough. Yi Mufan listened seriously and didn't doubt Yi Wanwan's words at all. Then I'll decline it. Yi Wanwan nodded. Decline it and thank Director Hong for his offer. Also, you can casually ask about the new film Director Hong and Fan Chihua are preparing to shoot next year, Wildfire. The male lead of that film quite suits Gong Su, so perhaps there's still an opportunity to work with him there. Okay, I understand. I'll reply to them after the banquet ends. As Gong Su listened to Yi Mufan and Yi Wanwan's conversation, his adoring look gradually shifted. The sense of something amiss plagued him. Why do I feel little Candied Plum's aura when she talks to Yi Mufan, is so familiar? Gong Su subconsciously looked at Luo Chen and caught the same thought in Luo Chen's eyes. Gong Su quietly asked Luo Chen, blockhead. Do you feel like little Candied Plum's aura just now really resembles Brother Yi? Luo Chen nodded. It's very similar, it's not just similar. It's like she was possessed by Brother Yi, alright? It wasn't only her tone and mannerisms when speaking but also her deep understanding of him and Luo Chen, as well Yi Mufan's attitude toward her. Everything felt off, didn't it? What is going on? Yi Mufan continued telling Yi Wanwan, also, date with a superstar called again. That Ho coward was shameless enough to invite us to attend the next episode. Also, Hot-Blooded Adventure, who broke the contract before the awards ceremony, is now shifting the blame and saying it was a temporary worker who messed things up. Don't accept those too. Did any other variety shows contact us? Yi Mufan nodded and handed his phone to her again. Of course there are. These are the ones who've contacted us so far. Take a look. Yi Wanwan pointed at two of the variety shows. These two are decent. Have Gong Su and Luo Chen pick one to attend. Chapter 1187. Okay. Yi Mufan looked up at Gong Su and Luo Chen. Which of these two shows do you want to attend? Both Gong Su and Luo Chen were currently spacing out. Yi Mufan frowned and waved his hand in front of them. Hey, I'm talking to you. Gong Su reacted with a jolt and reflexively answered, I'll listen to Brother Yi. Ah, right, where's Brother Yi? Yi Mufan raised his brows. Yi Mufan suddenly saw the person walking toward them and trailed off, his expression darkening abruptly. Yi Wanwan. Why are you here? Liang Shihan sharply screamed as she maliciously glared at Yi Wanwan. Yi Mufan instantly stood in front of Yi Wanwan. Liang Shihan, does your family own this place? Are you the only one allowed here? No matter how strong his sister had grown, he still felt like she was that naive little girl who needed his protection in his mind. Liang Shihan snorted. The problem isn't who owns this place. It's that this is the Golden Orchid Awards banquet today, and everyone who came is on the guest list. Who is she? Isn't she just a little assistant who does odd jobs around your office? What right does she have to be here? Without waiting for Yi Mufan to speak, Gong Su shot up like a rocket. And what right do you have to run your mouth off about whether she has the right? Liang Shihan felt some apprehensions about Gong Su since he was currently in the limelight. It was at this moment that Yi Yi appeared behind Liang Shihan to smooth things over. My apologies. Shihan is still young, so please excuse her. Yi Yi might look like she came to mediate a dispute, but she actually came to support Liang Shihan. Yi Yi looked at Yi Wanwan and passionately greeted her, Wanwan, you're also here. As soon as Liang Shihan saw that Yi Yi had come over, her confidence was boosted. She affectionately looped her arms around Yi Yi's arm and mocked, Best actor Gong, I might be a rookie, but I still know the rules. Everyone attending tonight's Golden Orchid Awards banquet is a distinguished guest, so the guest list is exclusive. This woman originally didn't have the right to be here, so who knows how she conned her way inside. If anyone could come here, does that mean my assistant, chauffeur, and servant could all come too? Liang Shihan was basically implying Yi Wanwan was a servant with her words. Gong Su's eyes narrowed. Fucking say that again. Liang Shihan's eyes shifted between Gong Su and Yi Wanwan. Yi Wanwan, it turns out you didn't enter the company to work, you went to seduce men instead? Then it looked like a realization dawned on her. Say, you didn't only seduce Gong Su, right? I was wondering, how could a brilliant person like Yi Bai work under a renowned prodigal like Yi Mufan so staunchly and loyally? It turned out he managed it by selling his sister for success. Shihan, don't talk nonsense, Yi Yi immediately scolded quietly, but her eyes didn't contain any reproach. She was originally pondering how she could make Yi Mufan suffer. Who knew the piece of trash, Yi Wanwan, would serve herself on a silver platter? A red haze clouded Gong Su's vision when Liang Shihan mentioned Yi Bai, and he instantly charged up, you fucking piece of shit. What did you fucking say? A cold glint flickered through Yi Yi's eyes when she saw Gong Su angered and about to make a scene. She was naturally happy to see this. Chapter 1188, Gong Su, don't be rash. Luo Chen hastily pulled Gong Su back. However, how could Gong Su be stopped? He had already reached out and grasped Liang Shihan's wrist. Apologize to her. Liang Shihan started to shriek exaggeratedly, ah. It hurts. Let me go. You think you can bully me just because you're a best actor? If you don't have some illicit relationship, why would you get so worked up? The commotion was too loud, so it instantly attracted attention from other guests. Everyone looked at Yi Mufan and the girl next to him strangely and pointed at them while whispering. When Gong Su was about to explode, Yi Wanwan calmly said, Gong Su. Yi Wanwan didn't say anything, but a mere look from her caused Gong Su to automatically and obediently release Liang Shihan's hand and pat her back to Yi Wanwan's side. When Luo Chen saw this, he glanced at Yi Wanwan, imperceptibly shocked. Liang Shihan stared at Yi Wanwan like she was looking at some disgusting object. Yi Wanwan, you're truly outstanding. Have you already used your looks to climb into the bed of everyone in the agency? That Yi Bai is probably also mesmerized by that face of yours, right? Otherwise, why would he willingly stay at your brother's tiny, lousy company? Liang Shihan's words elicited a wave of whispers from the crowd. It turns out that beautiful woman is Yi Mufan's sister. But why do I keep feeling like that beauty is familiar looking and that I've seen her before? Liang Shihan's words make sense though. Think about it, couldn't a fearsome person like Yi Bai work anywhere? Why did he have to choose an abandoned son expelled from his clan like Yi Mufan? PFT, maybe she really did use a honey pot trap on Yi Bai. The horrible chatter around them naturally made their way to Yi Hongwei as well. Yi Hongwei looked at Yi Wanwan with a deep frown. What happened? Why is Wanwan here? Yi Shaoan, who was next to him, watched the show in amusement. Mufan probably brought her here. Ah, that Mufan, doesn't he know what's proper and improper? If he used that kind of shameful trick, then he should keep a lower profile. Why did he bring Wanwan to this kind of place? How is that girl presentable? Isn't he just inciting other people to humiliate them? Yi Hongwei became infuriated. Why are you still standing here? Hurry and make that girl disappear. If this type of scandal was publicized about his granddaughter, the entire Yi group would be humiliated as well. Yi Wanwan's expression didn't change at all as she listened to the increasingly awful assumptions around her. She looked at Liang Shihan and sardonically said, "You bought some internet navy just moments ago and said Yi Bai was gay and liked men. Now you're saying Yi Wanwan climbed into Yi Bai's bed? Can your esteemed company please remember to stick to the same story before defaming someone next time? Don't make such idiotic mistakes." Liang Shihan stomped her feet in anger. You, who bought an internet navy to defame someone? Don't slander us venomously. A fly wouldn't choose an uncracked egg. It's clearly Yi Bai who has a fault. If he doesn't actually like men and is a perverted crossdresser, why would that kind of rumor be floating around? Gong Su was about to explode from his anger. What fucking bullshit logic was this? Yi Wanwan cast her eyes down and chuckled lowly. She furtively said, "You're right. Yi Bai does like men." The second Yi Wanwan finished speaking, an uproar erupted in the area. Chapter 1189, 1189 Yi Wanwan quickly added, "Also, he does like to wear female clothes." Everyone was flabbergasted by her words. Shit! A super large scoop. Yi Bai is really gay and has a crossdressing fetish. Liang Shihan burst into laughter. Ha ha ha, you were saying I'm dumb. Yi Wanwan, I think you're the dumb one, right? You admitted it yourself. This idiot, Yi Wanwan, was truly a pig teammate. A staff member noticed the argument there and swiftly rushed over. Excuse me, what's going on? As soon as Liang Shihan saw the staff member, she said, "Manager Zhang, this woman isn't on the guest list but forcefully barged in. Please look into it." Manager Zhang looked at Yi Wanwan, a stunned look flitting through his eyes. "Miss, you are..." Liang Shihan sneered. "She's just a girl who does menial jobs at Age of the Immortals." Manager Zhang turned to look at Yi Mufan with a conflicted expression. "CEO Yi, may I ask what the situation is with this miss?" Yi Mufan brusquely snapped, "She's my sister." "Do you have a problem?" Manager Zhang politely said, "CEO Yi, I'm truly sorry. To guarantee the privacy and safety of all the guests present, this is a closed banquet. Uninvited people aren't allowed entry, even relatives. Your sister, she doesn't seem to be on the guest list, correct?" Yi Mufan snorted. "Who said she isn't on the guest list? She was personally invited by a call from your President Chen. Earlier, due to the pressure of Worldwide Entertainment and Emperor Sky Entertainment, the event organizers purposefully erased them from the banquet guest list. After the results of the awards ceremony came out, Chen Yanfeng personally called them to re-invite them to express his apology. Chen Yanfeng used to be very close to Yi Shaoting. After Yi Mufan and Yi Wanwan established Age of the Immortals, they invited him for meals several times and maintained their relationship. After Chen Yanfeng found out about his and his sister's situation, he helped them out wherever he could. Luo Chen and Gong Su's special training in the Special Forces was achieved with his connections. However, due to Emperor Sky Entertainment's pressure, Chen Yanfeng's hands were tied sometimes. Later, Chen Yanfeng personally re-invited them, so they naturally had to give him a way out. Liang Shihan broke into laughter when she heard that. President Chen personally called to invite her. What a joke. I say, brother cousin, do you think she's Yi Bai? What a large face. All the artists around them also laughed when they heard that. Even the boss, Yi Mufan, probably didn't have such a large face, right? Who didn't know Yi Bai was the true boss behind Age of Immortals? The true star of tonight's Golden Orchid banquet was Yi Bai. Yi frowned and spoke on Yi Mufan's behalf. Is there some misunderstanding? Mufan wouldn't lie. Liang Shihan snorted. Who knows? Some people like to puff themselves up at their own cost. His sister clearly sneaked in here to bait a whale. Yet he has the nerve to say President Chen personally invited her here. President Chen isn't here, so he can say whatever he wants. Yi Wanwan's phone suddenly rang. The caller ID showed, President Chen. Liang Shihan caught the caller ID on Yi Wanwan's screen in her periphery and instantly sneered, ah, what a coincidence. As soon as you mention President Chen calls you. Pretend, keep pretending. You even specifically found someone to pretend to be President Chen and call you. Take the call if you're so capable. Yi also stood there expectantly. She thought Yi Wanwan was just putting on an act since it wasn't the first time Yi Wanwan and her brother used this trick. However, everyone present was perceptive today. She couldn't pull wool over their eyes by faking it. Chapter 1190. Yi Wanwan glanced dryly at Liang Shihan and Yi and answered the call, ignoring them. Hello, President Chen, Yi Wanwan greeted. When Chen Yanfeng heard a girl's voice from the other end, he reflexively started. I'm Wanwan. Chen Yanfeng immediately regained his wits and said with a chuckle, oh, it's Wanwan. I didn't realize at first. You haven't arrived at the banquet yet? Chen Yanfeng knew Yi Wanwan used the Yi Bai persona on the outside, so he unsurprisingly found it strange when he heard Yi Wanwan speaking with a female voice. Yi Wanwan answered, I've arrived. It's just that I ran into some trouble. Chen Yanfeng quickly asked with worry, trouble? What is it? Don't worry and hold on. I'm outside already. I'll be right there. Alright. Yi Wanwan then hung up. Liang Shihan snorted. You're done faking already. Why didn't you pretend more realistically? At least put the call on speaker. Liang Shihan merely thought Yi Wanwan couldn't keep faking it when Yi Wanwan stopped talking. She looked at the manager and said, Manager Zhang, can't you see it now? This person clearly sneaked in here, and everyone knows why. In order to prevent guests from being disturbed, the organizers can't just stand by and do nothing, right? Too many pairs of eyes were watching him, so Manager Zhang naturally couldn't overlook it. Hence, he could only assertively tell Yi Wanwan, Miss, I'm very sorry. You didn't receive an invitation, so please leave the premises immediately. Yi Mufan's eyes narrowed, and he was about to say something when a commotion was suddenly heard from the doors. The artists all automatically stood to the side to yield a path and were reverently looking at the newcomer. President Chen is here. There were a few higher-ups behind Chen Yanfeng. He casually greeted the guests before hastily headed straight for Yi Wanwan. Yi Wanwan, President Chen's here now. Let me see how you'll keep faking it. Liang Shihan was overjoyed when she saw President Chen's arrival and instantly headed toward the president, wanting to ask him to settle this matter. Chen Yanfeng seemed to have not noticed Liang Shihan and walked straight past her toward Yi Wanwan. When Chen Yanfeng saw Yi Wanwan's dress, he mirthfully teased, Director Yi, why did you suddenly wear female clothes? I nearly didn't recognize you. Liang Shihan, who was about to tattle, was startled. What did President Chen call Yi Wanwan? Director Yi? Isn't Yi Bai the only director surnamed Yi at Age of the Immortals? Did Yi Wanwan somehow attain some director position too? However, what did he mean by wearing female clothes? Why do those words sound so strange? Chen Yanfeng saw many people surrounding them and Manager Zhang was present, so he looked at Manager Zhang. What happened? Manager Zhang quickly explained. This miss entered without an invitation card, so I'm currently talking to her and requesting her to leave. Chen Yanfeng's expression dramatically shifted immediately. He angrily reprimanded the manager, utter nonsense. The president's anger caused Manager Zhang to jump. He had no idea what he did wrong. President, what is it? Chen Yanfeng looked enraged. Do you know who she is? I managed to invite her with great difficulty, but you wanted to kick her out? Huh? President. Sorry. I didn't know she was invited by you. Manager Zhang wasn't the only one. The people around them were all dumbfounded. What's going on here? Chapter 1191. 1191 This girl was really personally invited by Chen Yanfeng? But how is she worthy? Chen Yanfeng glanced at Yi Wanwan and said with a chuckle, when we were on the phone just now, I was wondering what kind of trouble you encountered, but now, I finally understand. Yi Wanwan's expression was a bit exasperated. Sorry for making trouble for you, President Chen. Chen Yanfeng hurriedly said, Nonsense, nonsense. It was a lack of consideration on my part. Everyone was confused as they listened to Chen Yanfeng and Yi Wanwan's conversation. Everyone. Chen Yanfeng raised his hand to signal silence from everyone. Then his eyes swept over everyone and said, Miss Yi Wanwan's arrival appears to have caused some misunderstanding, so I will now reintroduce Miss Yi to everyone. Everyone looked at each other, bewildered. Reintroduce? Chen Yanfeng paused briefly before he continued, Miss Wanwan is my dear friend's daughter. When Wanwan started working, she didn't use her real identity and name out of convenience and used an alias instead. Everyone looked further perplexed when they heard that. An alias? This woman has another identity. But what kind of identity deserves a personal invitation from Chen Yanfeng? Moreover, he didn't even hesitate before going through the great effort of rescuing her out of trouble. Everyone's eyes were fixed on Chen Yanfeng. Chen Yanfeng said, Miss Yi Wanwan's alias in the industry is Yi Bai. In other words, she's the director of the talent recruitment department at Age of the Immortals. Chen Yanfeng's seemingly feather-light words caused everyone present to descend into a strange silence. Everyone thought they were experiencing an auditory hallucination. Gong Su was ready to spring forward to protect little Candied Plum as soon as the situation took a bad turn. When he heard Chen Yanfeng's declaration, he was stupefied for a second before cleaning his ears. What did old man Chen just say? Luo Chen said, he said Miss Ye's alias is Yi Bai. Tang Xingho interjected, what the hell? Yi Mufan's sister is brother Yi. Did President Chen drink too much? All the other guests' reactions were about the same. What did President Chen just say? I think he said that woman's alias is Yi Bai. Shit. Yi Bai. Which Yi Bai? How many Yi Bais does the industry have? Didn't President Chen say she's the director of the talent recruitment department at Age of the Immortals? She's Luo Chen and Gong Su's manager. You're kidding me, right? Yi Bai's a man, okay. Liang Shihan took half a day to recover from her shock. She humorously asked, President Chen, are you mistaken about something? You just said Yi Wanwan's alias is Yi Bai. Age of the Immortals Yi Bai. Director Yi is a man. Chen Yanfeng glanced at Yi Wanwan before he promptly explained. That's right, that's right. Wanwan does indeed dress as a man when she's working for convenience. Yi Bai is Wanwan's alias and identity when she's working. Hence, all the people who don't know her think she's a man. Everyone was astonished again when they heard Chen Yanfeng's explanation. Shit. Even a movie wouldn't make up this kind of plot, right? Yi Bai's actually a woman. This is too ludicrous. But President Chen was the one who said it, so it's probably the undeniable truth, so. When the internet rumors said Yi Bai liked men and also likes to dress in female clothes. He was a woman to begin with. Fuck me. The explosive scoops from this year's Golden Orchid Awards are coming one after another. Chapter 1192 Gong Su said, Old man Chen must have drank an entire ton of fake liquor, Tang Xingho retorted, or we drank a ton of fake liquor, Luo Chen. While the banquet hall was enveloped in an uproar, Jiang Yanran came from the direction of the restrooms. She was feeling a bit unwell after drinking some wine, so she went to the restroom. Wanwan. When Jiang Yanran unexpectedly saw Yi Wanwan wearing female clothes, she was shocked. She subconsciously blurted out, You switched back to female clothes? Yes, Yi Wanwan answered. Jiang Yanran immediately grumbled regretfully, I was hoping to be with my god Yi Bai for longer tonight. Yi Wanwan chuckled. You'll have a chance later. Only then did Jiang Yanran turn happy again. That's right. I've debuted now, so I can work together with you. She was now an artist officially under her god. The doubtful celebrities were startled again when they heard Jiang Yanran's words. Instantly, many female celebrities walked to Jiang Yanran's side to dig for news. Han Qingling quietly asked with an expression of disbelief. Best Actress Jiang, Yi Bai is really a woman? Jiang Yanran nodded. Yes. She's my best friend. We attended the same senior high and lived in the same dorm room. Han Qingling was immediately dumbstruck. Shoot. How did my god abruptly turn into a goddess? She found the girl named Yi Wanwan familiar when she saw her earlier. She originally wondered if there were any blood relations between Yi Wanwan and Yi Bai since Yi Wanwan had the same surname as Yi Bai. She never would have expected this to be the result. All the other girls present looked identical to Han Qingling as they felt their adoration shattering into pieces. Liang Shihan was ashen. Jiang Yanran, you're lying. Yi Wanwan, how could Yi Wanwan be Yi Bai? This is too absurd. It wasn't only Liang Shihan. Yi Yi's current expression was even more horrible looking. Yi Bai. How could Yi Wanwan, that piece of garbage, be Yi Bai? That scheming, fearsome Yi Bai who produced 2 best actors and 1 best actress in one night was Yi Wanwan. An indescribable feeling of panic flooded over her. In the blink of an eye, every single plan of hers was derailed as though a tornado had passed by them. Jiang Yanran glanced at Liang Shihan. Wanwan is my manager. It was Wanwan who accompanied me when I went to audition. You were also there, Miss Liang. Didn't you see her? Liang Shihan sifted through her memories. It really was Yi Wanwan who went to Jiang Yanran's audition with her. But, how could that be? A piece of garbage like Yi Wanwan only deserved to be a little assistant who did odd jobs and used her looks to seduce men. How could she be Yi Bai? How could she be the golden manager whose name reverberated in the entire entertainment industry, Yi Bai? However, no matter how much they were unwilling to believe it, President Chen personally explained it, so the truth was laid bare before them. They had no choice but to believe it. Gong Su foolishly stood in place and stared at the girl within the crowd. His face grew paler and paler as he listened to the onlookers' discussion. Then his legs grew limp. Luo Chen and Tang Xingho reached out to hold him at the same time. Tang Xingho coughed lightly. Are you okay, fool? Gong Su was nearly roaring when he said, Would you be okay if it were you? Do I look okay to you? Huh? Tang Xingho wiped the spit off his face. Don't yell at me. I'm also very shocked, alright? Chapter 1193. Gong Su was still trapped in his world-turning shock. No matter how imaginative he was, he couldn't have imagined little Candied Plum and Brother Yi were the same person. While Gong Su felt like his neurons had been put into a blender, the sound of footsteps came from behind him. Han Xianyu walked out from behind him. When Gong Su saw the newcomer, he looked like he had seen his savior. He latched onto Han Xianyu. Brother Xianyu. Brother Xianyu, did you hear? These people are crazy, right? They must be crazy. They're actually saying Brother Xianyu is female. Han Xianyu glanced at Gong Su and calmly said, Yi Bai is really a girl. Gong Su was dazed when he saw Han Xianyu's calm expression. You knew a long time ago, Brother Xianyu? Han Xianyu's gaze passed the crowd and traveled toward the girl surrounded by the crowd. Not that long ago. Not that long ago still means you knew. Shit. Was I the only one who didn't know? Tang Xingho raised his hand. I also didn't. Gong Su ignored Tang Xingho and looked at Luo Chen. Blockhead, why aren't you reacting? Are you dumbstruck? Luo Chen glanced dryly at him. Is it that important whether Brother Yi is male or female? He already realized Yi Wanwan gave him a very familiar feeling, that inexplicably comforting feeling. Especially when she spoke with Yi Mufan. At that moment, he nearly thought she was Brother Yi. Gong Su went mad. You're actually telling me it's not important whether Brother Yi is male or female? Then would you also not care if I told you I'm also female right now? Tang Xingho's body shuddered, and he quickly rubbed his arms. I beg you to please don't say such frightening things. I'm terrified enough already. At the same time, in some corner, Yi Shaoan, who kept driving a wedge between Yi Hongwei and the siblings, was flabbergasted. There was no way he could have foreseen this kind of development. How's this possible? Yi Bai is Yi Wanwan. This is preposterous. After listening to Qin Yanfeng's introduction, the onlookers all walked toward Yi Hongwei and started chatting. Chairman Yi, congratulations, congratulations. You have such an outstanding granddaughter. Your granddaughter doesn't concede to any men. As expected of someone taught by Chairman Yi. The pupil truly surpasses the master. We were all scouting the background of this Yi Bai earlier and wanted to poach him to our company. Who knew he was old Ye's granddaughter? Ha ha ha, isn't that so? How can we poach her now? Yi Hongwei also evidently didn't expect that youth he admired to be his granddaughter. She was a child of his Yi family. Emotionally, it felt like he had ridden a roller coaster. It was a bit hard to describe. Yi Hongwei's mood instantly brightened. Everyone is too flattering. I'm also very shocked that this child accomplished her current achievements. Chairman Yi, don't be so humble. It appears the Yi family will be in good hands. When Yi Shaoan heard, will be in good hands, his teeth nearly broke from how hard he gritted them. He was too careless. He only defended against Yi Mufan and completely forgot about Yi Wanwan. Who knew this girl had been a sheep in wolf's clothing the entire time and did so many things behind the scenes? No wonder that prodigal playboy, Yi Mufan, underwent such a drastic transformation so suddenly and turned so sharp. It turned out it wasn't that punk who changed. Instead, it had always been this girl pulling the strings behind him. Chapter 1194. However, this girl was clearly an idiot, trashier than Yi Mufan, so how did she suddenly turn into a completely different person? This was utterly absurd. He couldn't figure it out no matter how hard he racked his brain. After President Qin introduced her, an impenetrable crowd gathered around her. Director Yi. You're really Director Yi? No wonder I kept thinking you looked so familiar. Your makeup skills are too extraordinary. It's better than a disguise. You actually cross-dressed as a guy. Your strategy was too impressive. Director Yi is utterly amazing. You have heaven-defyingly good looks regardless whether you're dressed as male or female. When everyone saw Yi Wanwan earlier, they were stunned by this girl's eye-catching face and unique aura, so they overlooked other things. They never would have expected her to be the same person as Yi Bai. Yi Wanwan politely said, "My apologies. I merely wanted to work with more convenience. I didn't mean to deceive everyone." Everyone expressed their understanding. It's nothing, it's nothing. It's your freedom to dress however you want. This can't be considered deceit. Moreover, if Yi Wanwan worked in this industry with her appearance, it truly wasn't safe. No wonder Yi Mufan made her use a male persona out of worry. That's right, other people echoed in agreement. No wonder you said you liked men and also liked to wear female clothes, Director Yi. This was truly a giant misunderstanding. Everyone fervidly talked around Yi Wanwan and kept pointedly glancing at Liang Shihan. Now that the truth came out, Liang Shihan, who had jumped up and down slandering Yi Wanwan in all sorts of ways without any proof, was equivalent to a clown. Liang Shihan turned around wanting to seek support from Yi Yi, only to discover that Yi Yi had disappeared a long time ago. Hence, she quickly fled from the crowd with her tail between her legs. Han Qingling stood in front of Yi Wanwan and stammered with an embarrassed expression, "Ahem, Director Yi. Sorry, about earlier. I really only acted so rudely and presumptuously earlier because of a game." Mirth spread across Yi Wanwan's eyes. "It's nothing." Han Qingling felt like her heart was struck by lightning when Yi Wanwan faintly smiled at her. How can she be so good-looking and so mesmerizing? Especially when she looked at you with a faint smile. It felt like you were lovingly being spoiled. Director Yi was fatal to both men and women in female clothes. Even Han Qingling, who was a girl, was captured, let alone others. Yi Mufan's close roguish friends from the past had already dragged him into a corner to interrogate him. Shit! Yi Mufan. You've truly kept it under close wraps. You actually didn't even tell us, your friends. That's right. You're awful. Wait, that's not the important thing. The important thing is, does Director Yi have a boyfriend yet? Young Master Yi, what do you think of me? A fresh meat who went the stylish man route asked excitedly. Yi Mufan was indifferent. So. The fresh meat instantly said, no. Look again. Look closely. We have so many years of friendship. You can't be that heartless, right? Yi Mufan maintained his cold face and rolled his eyes. Give up. My sister likes them good-looking. Damn. Yi Mufan, what the heck do you mean? I'm not ugly, okay? Yi Mufan ignored this group of playboys and abandoned them to walk toward Yi Wanwan. Chapter 1195 Grandfather still needed an explanation. Yi Wanwan and Yi Mufan walked to their grandfather together. Yi Wanwan docilely stood in front of their grandfather and admitted her wrongs. Grandpa, sorry. I was playing a joke on you earlier, so I didn't immediately state I was Yi Bai. You won't be angry, right, Grandpa? Although Yi Hongwei kept a stern expression, there wasn't any reproach in his words. You child, you even deceived grandfather. Yi and Yi Shaoan silently nearby stood, their faces were so dark that they couldn't even hide it. Yi Mufan was admiring Yi and her father's dark expressions as he said, "Ha, Grandpa, don't take it to heart. I also didn't recognize her at first." Wanwan has really grown up, Yi Hongwei sighed. His eyes slowly became convinced as he looked at his grandson and granddaughter. He solemnly said, "You two have done a great job this time. Grandfather knows." As soon as Yi and Yi Shaoan heard this, an ominous feeling pervaded them. Then after a brief pause, Yi Hongwei continued, "Mufan, Wanwan, come visit the office next Monday. Grandfather has something to talk to you about. Also, Shaoan, inform the board. There'll be a board meeting next Monday." In other words, Yi Hongwei wanted to fulfill his promise and announce Yi Wanwan and Yi Mufan's return to the entire company. Yi Mufan's eyes brightened a few degrees. "Yes, Grandpa." Yi Wanwan also said, "Okay." Yi Shaoan met Yi's eyes. His face was as dark as the bottom of a pot. He nearly coughed up blood from his anger. However, Yi donned a generous attitude to praise Yi Wanwan. However, her nails were deeply digging into her palms. Yi Mufan, Yi Wanwan. She really allowed these two pieces of trash to progress this far. Was everything she obtained through great trials, the Yi family, Emperor Sky Entertainment, her honorable identity as the eldest miss of the Yi family, about to be snatched back? How could that be? The Golden Orchid banquet finally ended and the guests started to leave in batches. In the parking garage, Gong Su lifelessly hung from Luo Chen. Because Yi Wanwan and Yi Mufan were busy entertaining the other guests the whole night, they didn't have time to pay attention to Gong Su. Hence, the poor Luo Chen and Tang Xingho had to keep suffering Gong Su's explosions. Impossible, how could this be possible? How could Brother Yi be a girl? How could Brother Yi be? Gong Su was howling when he froze and his eyes unblinkingly locked onto something in front of him. Little Candied Plum, the girl walking toward them, wore a black gown and had a halo of crystal lights. At this moment, Little Candied Plum and Yi Bai seemed to have merged into the same person. The girl's dress swayed lightly with her movements until she stopped in front of him. Yi Wanwan chuckled. What? Didn't you want me to fulfill my bet? Now, the second reward is also fulfilled. Gong Su dazedly stared at her. His chest of fury couldn't be released and his face turned redder and redder. Shit. Too good looking. I can't be angry with her at all. Especially when he thought about how the person in front of him was Yi Bai, who was in female clothes. Her killing power is too strong. When Tang Xingho saw Gong Su looking like a lovesick girl, he silently commented, I think Yi Bai being a woman is also quite a good thing, otherwise, this fool would definitely bend into a ring without even realizing. Chapter 1196. Gong Su's gaze was evasive, but he also longingly snuck peeks at the girl. His mind crumbled the more he peeked. Although he remarkably wanted to see Brother Yi wearing female clothes, this desire was even more intense than his desire to see little Candied Plum. He never would have expected it to be in this fashion. Brother Yi. How could you be like this? What? Why did you lie to me? If you didn't use your power tyrannically and bullied my artist, I wouldn't have used such special methods. Yi Wanwan looked exasperated. Back then, she and Gong Su were on opposing sides. This punk was too much of a scoundrel, so she made use of this opportunity. When Luo Chen heard Yi Wanwan, he was shocked briefly before his expression instantly turned warm. Back then, Gong Su was still on the same side as Zhou Wenbin. Gong Su used his power and overbearingly wanted to steal the secondary supporting role that he obtained with difficulty in Terrifying Dragon 2. He thought he was finished and was even prepared to accept his fate and go to Zhou Wenbin. To his surprise, Brother Yi rescued him again. In contrast to Luo Chen's reminiscent gratefulness, Gong Su's heart felt like it was stung by a hive of bees. All you know is that Luo Chen is your person. What about me then? Ugh! Utterly driving me mad. Yi Wanwan said, you really weren't back then, but you are now. Aren't I telling the truth now? When Gong Su heard Yi Wanwan's, you are now, his howl broke off. If I wasn't such a scoundrel back then, and didn't bully Luo Chen, would you have not lied to me then? If you weren't that scoundrel back then, I wager we probably wouldn't have met, no? Gong Su thought about it. That was true. If things happened differently, I wouldn't have left Zhou Wenbin and followed Yi Bai. Anything else you want to say? Yi Wanwan decided to resolve everything now. Otherwise, who knew how long this guy would have his knickers in a knot with his personality? Gong Su immediately said, I do. I have something to say to you. Wait, no. I have something to say to little Candied Plum. I must say it this second. I can't wait a millisecond longer. He had waited a long time already to say these words intended for little Candied Plum. Yi Mufan couldn't help shouting, what else could you possibly have to say? Gong Su was so aggrieved that he nearly started crying. The girl I've liked for so long and spent so much time searching for ended up being right under my nose. I also offended my elder brother-in-law so greatly. I'm already so miserable. Why can't I say a few words to little Candied Plum? Hey! Who's your elder brother-in-law? Yi Wanwan glanced at Yi Mufan, telling him to stop provoking Gong Su. Truthfully speaking, Gong Su was rather tragic this time. Yi Mufan vigilantly stared at Gong Su and grumbled at Yi Wanwan, Wanwan, why are you listening to his nonsense? This punk doesn't have any pure intentions toward you. He wants to seduce you. Yi Wanwan gave Yi Mufan side-eye. So what are you worrying about? With my man's looks, do I look like someone who can be easily seduced? Yi Mufan choked. Gong Su felt pain piercing him when he saw Yi Mufan whispering something to Yi Wanwan. His elder brother-in-law must be saying bad things about him. Why did I have to run my mouth off? Why do I have to insult Yi Mufan all the time? Look at Han Xianyu, his relationship with Yi Mufan was so amicable. After Yi Wanwan took care of Yi Mufan, she turned to Gong Su again. Alright, speak. Gong Su took a deep breath but wilted when he was about to speak. He stared at Yi Wanwan's face, and his face was conflicted as he made a request. Brother Yi, can you soften up a little? When I see you looking like that, I really can't think of you as little candied plum, Yi Wanwan answered. I can't soften up. Make do with it. Gong Su. Chapter 1197. Gong Su. Gong Su seriously considered it. Making Brother Yi turn into a soft girl was truly impossible. Also, he realized, he seemed to like this side of little candied plum more. Hence, Gong Su had no choice but to silently bag his tears and tragically mend his emotions. Then he started his confession. Brother Yi, you know, I like little candied plum. I've liked her since the first time I met her. Yi Wanwan nodded. I've also used Yi Bai's mouth to tell you that you weren't little candied plum's type from the start. Yi Wanwan's words were like an arrow to Gong Su's heart. I'm not little candied plum's type. Meaning I'm not Brother Ye's type. Yi Wanwan paused briefly before she continued. Also, Gong Su, you should also know that I have a boyfriend. Gong Su was just prepared to confess and was instantly smashed down by Yi Wanwan's hammer with a bang. He was dumbstruck. Right. Yi Bai has a boyfriend. This means little candied plum does as well. Although Yi Bai also said little candied plum was in a relationship already, he always thought it was an excuse from Yi Bai. However, he had seen Yi Bai's boyfriend with his own eyes. More importantly, Yi Bai's boyfriend was especially handsome. However, he finally found his little candied plum after great tribulations, so how could he give up so easily? Gong Su gritted his teeth. So what if you're already a taken flower? This young master will still graft you to my side. There isn't a flower this young master can't graft. Yi Wanwan felt a headache coming on and sighed. She knew this guy wouldn't be pacified so easily. In truth, Gong Su's matter was a bit difficult to handle. After all, the two of them still had to work together in the future. If she didn't handle it well, it would definitely affect their relationship later. How could she completely kill Gong Su's feelings and make sure they wouldn't flare up in the slightest in the future? At that moment, pattering footsteps came from behind her. Yi Wanwan subconsciously turned toward the sound. Around the corner, a fair and delicate child was swiftly flying toward her like a freed little bird. Mommy! Tang Tang! Joy filled Yi Wanwan's eyes when she saw Tang Tang. Yi Wanwan instantly found her arms full of a child. Baby, why are you here? The little fella's face was flushed from excitement. Mommy, Tang Tang came to pick you up. Yi Wanwan had entertained people for an entire night, but she felt herself recuperating lightning fast with this soft little bun in her arms. Baby is so good. Tang Tang had been informed he couldn't call her mommy when she was in male clothes. But Yi Wanwan was in female clothes right now, so Tang Tang called her mommy without any worry. He had no idea about the great explosive effect him calling her mommy had on a certain person now. Behind them, Gong Su was flabbergasted as he looked at the tiny child. What did you call her? You're her son. Brother Yi brought this child with him once, but wasn't he the son of Brother Ye's friend? It felt too magical to hear a tiny child calling Brother Yi mommy. Tung Tung's large, dark eyes alertly and displeasedly glanced at the little yellow chick. This little yellow chick coveted his mommy and also doubted whether he was his mommy's baby. Yi Wanwan sensed the little fella's unhappiness, so she quickly patted his head in comfort. Then a thought flashed in her mind and she looked at Gong Su and said, he's really my son. Tung Tung's timing was too opportune. Chapter 1198. She was just fretting over how immensely difficult it was to prune this peach blossom and Tang Tang appeared. What was more effective than Tung Tung's pruner? Gong Su's eyes shot open and his face filled with disbelief. That's impossible. Yi Wanwan lightly coughed. However, before Yi Wanwan could say anything, Yi Mufan piped in, how's it impossible? This is my sister's son. If you don't believe it, look at this child's face. His eyes, nose, and mouth are identical to my sister's. He didn't care anymore. An enemy's enemy was a friend. Taking care of Gong Su was the most important matter at hand. This punk had a worse reputation than him, so how could he allow this punk to tarnish his sister? Gong Su instantly turned to look at the tiny child hugging Yi Wanwan. This child was absurdly beautiful, a noble aura emanating from him despite his young age. He stared at the child for a long time and wanted to prove that Yi Mufan was lying. What he tragically realized was that Yi Wanwan and the child looked more and more similar the more he looked at them. There wasn't any disharmony when the mother and son duo were standing together. Damn! I wanted to graft the flower, but it turns out the tree bore fruit already. As Yi Wanwan hugged Tang Tang, she worriedly looked around. Where's Daddy? Why did Tang Tang run over by himself first? Si Yihan should be nearby, right? She was immensely glad he didn't stumble onto that scene just now. She had been unlucky so many times, but her luck finally shone for once. Tang Tang replied, Daddy went to the back to get something for you. Yi Wanwan mumbled, oh, I see, that's wonderful. Tang Tang, you're truly Mommy's lucky star. Yi Wanwan smacked another smooch on Tang Tang's cheek. He helped her take care of such a gigantic danger before Si Yihan arrived. She was simply too blissful. The sudden praise from Mommy caused the little fella to purse his lips with happiness all over his face. He was originally worried Mommy would be angry he didn't properly sleep early. Thank goodness he listened to Daddy's words and came to pick up Mommy. At that moment, Yi Wanwan saw a familiar figure appearing behind Tang Tang and walking toward them. Unsurprisingly, Si Yihan also came. Yi Wanwan was once again very, very glad that Tang Tang's arrival took care Gong Su. Otherwise, chickens would be flying every which way by now. Ajio, Yi Wanwan instantly stood up and sprinted toward Si Yihan. Si Yihan stared at the high heels under Yi Wanwan's feet with a frown, his face darkening slightly. Why are you running? Yi Wanwan looked up and smiled like a blossoming flower. Because I'm happy to see you. Her arms were around his waist, but Si Yihan silently placed the box he was holding onto the ground. Change your shoes. After the box was opened, a pair of comfortable sandals was revealed. This was what Tang Tang said he went to grab. Yi Wanwan's eyes glitteringly stared at Si Yihan like he was a little angel who'd grown a pair of wings. Help me put them on. Si Yihan intently stared at her for a moment before making her hold his shoulders. Then he bent down and helped her switch into the sandals. Although he had a cold expression, his movements as he helped her change her shoes were incomparably careful. Yi Wanwan plastered herself onto him as soon as he straightened back up. Also. Did you see the message I sent you? We won 2 Best Actors and 1 Best Actress tonight. You haven't complimented me yet. Si Yihan replied, not bad. Yi Wanwan's face fell when she heard that. She was in utter disbelief. That's all. Si Yihan glanced at her gloomy and extremely disappointed expression. After a brief hesitation, he bent over and laid a feather-light kiss on her lips. Behind them, the completely forgotten Gong Su, I should be under the car instead of next to the car so I can't see how sweet you two are. Chapter 1199, 1199. Didn't she say she can't soften up? So who's this clingy and incredibly soft girl who likes to act spoiled? Gong Su felt thousands of arrows piercing his heart as he watched this scene. Tang Xingho covered his poor, blinded eyes and coughed lightly. He clapped Gong Su's shoulders. My condolences, fool. You lose based on your looks alone. Shut up. Gong Su retorted immediately. Tang Xingho clicked his tongue. His figure also seems to be better than yours. Are you done yet? Moreover, they have a child already. Gong Su, his HP instantly dropped to 0. Yi Wanwan saw Gong Su's expression and knew he'd almost completely given up, so she breathed a sigh of relief. It's late already. You should go home soon. Gong Su felt lifeless. I won't go home. I want to get drunk off my ass. Yi Wanwan frowned. How could she allow Gong Su to drink in his current state? Luo Chen looked at Yi Wanwan and said, Brother Yi, you can go home and rest. I'll stay with him. Only after hearing that did Yi Wanwan relax. There definitely wouldn't be any problems with Luo Chen accompanying him. Ah, thank goodness there's a reassuring one. Yi Wanwan was afraid of unnecessary trouble, so she didn't dare to linger. After bidding farewell to her group, she hurriedly got into the car. The black car stably drove away in the night with Su Yi as the driver. In the back, baby Tang Tang, who was sitting in between Si Yihan and Yi Wanwan, nervously said, Sorry, Mommy. Tang Tang didn't listen to you and sleep, how could Yi Wanwan be angry? It's nothing. Mommy's also very happy baby came to pick Mommy up. Just like how Tang Tang didn't have any principles when it came to Yi Wanwan was the same with Tang Tang. Her most important principle was having no principles. The little fellow was relieved. His face was filled with worry when he muttered, because Tang Tang. Tang Tang was worried Mommy would drink. As soon as Mommy drinks, Mommy forgets about Tang Tang. That was the only thing he couldn't accept, so he hadn't listened to Yi Wanwan on this rare occasion. Yi Wanwan quickly said, Don't worry. Mommy will definitely keep her promises to Tang Tang. Not too long ago, the father and son duo at the little house of Rose, Si Yihan helped tuck Tang Tang into his blanket. Sleep. The little fella's face was lonely. When is Mommy coming back? Very late. How late is very late? The little fella asked. Hard to say. Did Mommy go to a social function? A banquet. Tang Tang instantly frowned. A banquet? Do people drink at banquets? Yes. The little fella's hackles immediately rose like he was facing a great enemy. Then will Mommy drink? Si Yihan glanced at him before he nonchalantly said, Maybe. Tang Tang grew frantic. But didn't Mommy promise she wouldn't drink anymore last time? Do you think she listens to me? But Mommy listens to Tang Tang. Si Yihan looked calm. Hopefully. Si Yihan's ambiguous words caused the child to instantly lose his calm. Tang Tang laid on the bed. When Si Yihan was about to leave, he reached out to grab Si Yihan's sleeves. Daddy, Si Yihan stopped walking and looked at the child. With an extremely conflicted expression, the child said, Can we go and pick up Mommy? It's very late already. You should sleep. The child grew anxious. But I'm worried about Mommy, and so, at baby Tang Tang's adamant request, Si Yihan had no choice but to, reluctantly, take him to pick up Yi Wanwan. Chapter 1200. At a certain mansion in Imperial City, Han Xianyu took off his elegant, high-end tailored jacket and walked to his wine cabinet. He opened a bottle of red wine, poured a glass, and walked to the balcony. Behind him, Fei Yang couldn't help but feel surprised that Han Xianyu was drinking at this time of night. Han Xianyu's life was very disciplined and healthy. Unless he needed to attend a social function or entertain his friends, he rarely drank by himself. However, this wasn't too odd. Maybe he was drinking a glass or two because he was in quite a good mood due to their agency's overwhelming victory. Fei Yang didn't scrutinize this minor detail. He exuberantly followed Han Xianyu and started gossiping. My goodness. Tonight's news was too frightening, wasn't it? Yi Bai was actually Yi Mufan's sister, Yi Guangguan. This is simply, it's Wanwan, the one from Long Hair Wounds a Monarch's Heart. Han Xianyu interrupted Fei Yang and corrected him as he stood in front of the balcony and looked at the ink-colored night. Oh, right. Wanwan, Yi Wanwan. Xianyu, you don't know but the entire industry has exploded. Every single one of my group chats is talking about this, and my phone is about to explode from these people calling me. Shit, I'm also completely dumbfounded. I only learned about this tonight, alright? However, Xianyu, you, on the other hand, already knew about this. As Fei Yang spoke, he remembered something and suddenly slapped his head. Shit! Could it be the woman you were in a scandal with last time was Yi Bai? Han Xianyu sipped his wine but didn't say anything, implicitly agreeing. Realization dawned on Fei Yang. Fuck me. No wonder. I was wondering why you would suddenly care about a girl so much. For her, you caught someone cheating and also fought for her justice. Also, I also realized your attitude toward Yi Bai's been weirder and weirder lately. You were absurdly gentle. I was wondering why you were so considerate and gentle to a man. You almost made me think that you turned gay. Fei Yang stopped himself in time. He turned to look at Han Xianyu like his world was crumbling down on him. So. Yi Bai's really female? If not. Han Xianyu finally spoke. He glanced at Fei Yang and swallowed a sip of red wine before slowly saying, "What, did you think I liked a man?" Han Xianyu's low voice dissipated in the night breeze. Fei Yang didn't process what this sentence meant at first. 3 seconds later, he looked up at Han Xianyu with a swish with a dramatic change in expression. Shit. What did Xianyu mean? Did he admit he liked Yi Bai? Fei Yang was rooted to his spot from the shock. He stared at Han Xianyu, flabbergasted. He seemed to have learned something remarkable. Xianyu, you like Yi Bai? Han Xianyu remained silent. Although Han Xianyu didn't say anything, Fei Yang had been by Han Xianyu's side for too long and knew him too well. Fei Yang could guess from his eyes. Moreover, he already noticed something amiss with Han Xianyu before he found out Yi Bai was a girl. After Fei Yang calmed down, he thought, thank goodness Yi Bai's a woman and Xianyu didn't turn gay. Yi Bai had given Han Xianyu a hand during his most difficult time. Later, their thoughts collided in every respect. Thinking back on it, considering the fact that Yi Bai was female, it wasn't strange that Han Xianyu ended up liking Yi Bai. Fei Yang lightly coughed and probed, Then what do you plan to do? Do you need to confess or something? Han Xianyu drank his glass of red wine in one gulp. Not every type of feeling needs to be verbalized. Chapter 1201. 1201. The venue for the banquet was quite far from the little house of Rose, so Yi Wanwan had Su Yi turn on the radio to stave off the boredom of the journey. The radio was currently playing a midnight show, and soothing music permeated the car. Yi Wanwan had her eyes half closed as she held Tang Tang and leaned against Si Yihan's shoulder, enjoying this rare moment of peace. Her nerves had been tense for so long, but she could finally relax. After the song ended, the show host's voice was heard from the radio. I'm sure all of my listeners know that tonight's Golden Orchid Awards finally dropped its curtains. In comparison to previous years, this year's Golden Orchid Awards had the most headlines. The Best Actress laurel fell to the dark horse rookie, Jiang Yanran, and double Best Actors happened for the first time in the history of the Golden Orchid Awards. However, the most brilliant star of this year's Golden Orchid Awards ceremony wasn't the 2 Best Actors or the Best Actress. Instead, it was the god behind the Best Actress and the 2 Best Actors. Yi Wanwan snapped to attention when she heard that. The Golden Orchid Awards is coincidentally being mentioned on the show I turned on, and the host even mentioned me. Yi Wanwan eagerly straightened up to listen to the host complimenting her. The god behind them is the manager of Gong Su, Luo Chen, and the newly crowned Best Actress, Jiang Yanran, Yi Bai. I'm not sure if my listeners watched the live broadcast of tonight's Golden Orchid Awards, but I, Xiao, watched it. He didn't get a lot of screen time at the awards ceremony, but I never would have expected this mysterious manager to be so handsome. His looks aren't inferior to the 2 Best Actors at all, even my heart was moved. No wonder the netizens bestowed the title, Heavenly Group of Breathtaking Beauties on Age of the Immortals. The host, Xiao, appeared to have been completely enraptured as a fan and excitedly continued, there's also another explosive scoop fresh out of the oven. Yi Bai isn't a man. She's a girl who likes to dress as a man for convenience, and her female form is also breathtaking. Now all the girls want to have her babies and all the boys worship her as their goddess. She's truly fatal to both men and women. As soon as fatal to both men and women was spoken, Yi Wanwan wanted to die and didn't dare to look at Si Yihan's face at all. An ominous feeling crept upon Yi Wanwan the moment she heard the host say, "Even my heart was moved." As expected, the radio program turned more sinful the more the host spoke. Especially that last part. She thought the danger was resolved already, but who knew this would happen when she finally relaxed. She originally thought she would attract at least 50% fewer people after changing back into female clothes, but she ended up attracting 50% more. This chapter is scrapped from Riyadh light novel. Yi Wanwan prayed Si Yihan wasn't paying attention to the show, but in the next second, Si Yihan's dry voice was heard next to her ears, fatal to both men and women. Yi Wanwan blinked and turned to stare at his face, which was bewitching like a siren's under the night sky. She puffed up her cheeks and said, So what if I'm fatal to men and women? You captivate the whole world. I haven't said anything even though I have so many more love rivals than you. I'm also mad. Yi Wanwan decisively shifted the blame. Si Yihan deeply stared at her and didn't say anything as though he was recalling something. Yi Wanwan looked at Si Yihan's face and felt she had a very good argument, so she instantly became confident and glared at him, not to be outdone. What? Was I wrong? Si Yihan's gaze suddenly turned to the sleepy Tang Tang in Yi Wanwan's arms. Then he extended his hand and covered Tang Tang's eyes before leaning toward Yi Wanwan. His rough voice rang next to her ears. I don't want to captivate the whole world. In the next second, he gently covered her soft and sweet lips, his remaining words drowned out in the kiss. Only want to captivate you, Yi Wanwan. Chapter 1202 Su-yi. Up front in the driver's seat, Su-yi hastily turned off the radio. A second later, he saw this dog-abusing scene from the rearview mirror and was rendered utterly speechless. Ninth Master, have you forgotten something? Don't only cover young Master Tang Tang's eyes. In the end, the ignored Su-yi had no choice but to take action himself, and he silently raised the divider, cutting off the view. Si Yihan didn't move his hand from Tang Tang's eyes until he detected that the child had fallen asleep already. He deepened the kiss at the same time. Yi Wanwan's lips might feel cool, but her cheeks were boiling. Too astonishing. Did he just hit on me? Si Yihan actually hit on me. With an extremely smooth technique too. Meeting Yi Wanwan's large, round eyes and fixed gaze, Si Yihan was forced to stop the kiss. He asked with an exasperated expression, What's with your face? Yi Wanwan's eyes were glittering as she said, Ajo, have you noticed? You actually know how to hit on girls. Plus, your sweet talk skills have been lit to the max. Your EQ improved in leaps and bounds. Did you secretly join some training class that improves your EQ? Si Yihan's face darkened slightly. He gripped her chin and fiercely bit her lips before saying through gritted teeth, One is marked by the company one keeps. Yi Wanwan blinked and thought, There's nothing wrong with this answer. It must have been inspired by me. One is marked by the company one keeps. Half an hour later, the car finally reached the little house of Rose. Si Yihan took Tang Tang from Yi Wanwan's arms, and the family of 3 got out of the car. Old Jiang was standing by the door and welcomed them inside. Si Yihan first carried Tang Tang upstairs. Yi Wanwan caught a giant box sitting in the living room from her periphery and asked with a frown, What is this? Old Jiang honestly reported, Master, we received a fridge again today. Old Jiang looked confused, evidently not understanding why his master bought so many household appliances for nothing. They received a lot of fridges, televisions, washing machines, and etc. this month already. Yi Wanwan was at a loss of words when she heard this. That guy, nameless Nye. Enough already. How many fridges, televisions and washing machines did he send here? And he insists that his principles prohibit him from accepting anything that isn't obtained honestly. What's the difference between his current actions and robbery? Why haven't the crew of the show beat him to death yet? Alright, got it. Help me find a random storage facility and put it there for now. Later, she would ask if any of her friends wanted it. If they did, she would give it to them. If not, she would sell it. Yi Wanwan was about to go upstairs when her phone rang. It was a message from the periodically missing nameless Nya. Nameless Nya appeared to be very busy lately and couldn't be reached often. When he rarely returned to the grid, it was to ask for photos of Tang Tang in order to stay alive. Nya Hollow Pit, Sister Famous Yi, did you get the fridge? Famous Yi, I got it. Nya Hollow Pit, that's good, that's good. Ah, this is probably the last time I'll send you alimony. Yu Wanwan was about to tell him to stop sending appliances to her, but when she saw this message, she typed, Famous Yi, what is it? Nya Hollow Pit, I've been banned by all the shows. These shows are such frauds. How could they not follow the rules? They said the winner would get the prize. So how could they ban me from participating altogether? Famous Yi, Yu Wanwan was rendered speechless. Who else would they ban other than you? It's already quite nice that they didn't beat you to death. Chapter 1203. After Nameless Nya handed her his alimony and asked her for a few photos, he quickly disappeared without a trace again. Yu Wanwan originally planned to ask him about his progress in searching for Tang Tang's biological parents but didn't have the chance. This guy was truly sloppy. How could he be so careless? Wasn't he afraid she'd turn monstrous and kidnap Tang Tang one day? Yu Wanwan walked upstairs. Si Yihan had already carried Tang Tang to bed, and the little fellow was sound asleep. Yu Wanwan leaned over and planted a kiss on Tang Tang's cheeks. Meanwhile, Si Yihan pulled a first aid kit from a drawer. Come here. Yu Wanwan obediently walked to the sofa. Okay. Si Yihan glanced at the blisters on her feet caused by the high heels, carefully placed her feet on his leg and applied ointment to her feet. Yu Wanwan neither liked nor was used to wearing high heels, but she had to wear super tall high heels to put on an act that night. Hence, she felt like she was a mermaid undergoing torture the entire night. When Si Yihan took out the pair of sandals earlier, she simply wanted to marry him. Yu Wanwan propped up her chin and appreciated his face, which was even prettier when he was concentrating. She was thinking about this when she was suddenly hit with a sense of déjà vu. In the silent night, the man skillfully moved as though he had helped her apply medicine countless of times. On the bed next to them, the soft little bun slept soundly. This peaceful scene was enough to convert a prodigal and make a general shed his armor. Whether it was the world at its glory or the Jianghu with its smoke and thrills, it couldn't compare to being by his side at this moment. Upon sensing that she was staring at him, Si Yihan glanced at her and asked, What? Yu Wanwan murmured with her chin resting on her hand, I was suddenly thinking. Back then, why did you like me? Si Yihan's expression froze briefly when he heard her question. Why are you suddenly asking this? I was just curious, Yu Wanwan mumbled. Back then, I was kicked out of home and severed my ties to my parents. I was also fat and ugly. I didn't have any money or looks, so why did you take a liking to me? She asked this question once before, but Si Yihan's response ended up being very mystical. He said, I only have you. What in the world did I only have you mean? Ever since she was reborn, she had been running around for her freedom, her livelihood, and her family, so she didn't bother to think deeply about the problems she didn't understand. However, this question silently crept upon her again on a night like tonight. I remember I asked you this same question when we were fighting a year ago. Back then, you answered. I only have you. What did that mean? Yu Wanwan mumbled. Through the window, the cool rays from the moonlight showered the girl's lost and curious face. Si Yihan looked at her lost and confused expression, and his slender figure appeared to emanate a feeling of desolation. Yu Wanwan frowned lightly. Si Yihan's expression made her feel like he was the only one in the entire world. Why, does he look like this? An unknown amount of time passed before Si Yihan finally noticed her clear and pure eyes. He slowly said, Because, I only have you. Only have you. I only have you. Yu Wanwan felt something sharp piercing her heart, and an ache spread through her heart. As the direct eldest grandson of the Si family and the only family head, he was clearly situated in a high place with a noble status and was revered by everyone as a god. So, why did he look like this? Why would he say, he only had her? Yi Wanwan became more and more lost. Could it be that she missed something in her previous life? Or did she forget something important? Chapter 1204. 1204 Yi Wanwan tried her best to sift through her memories but came up with nothing. Weird. My memory is so good, so there's no way I don't have the slightest recollection of something that happened? When she tried her hardest to think about it though, she felt something stabbing her mind, and a piercing pain radiated from the depths of her mind. Sleep. Her body was suddenly enveloped by a warm embrace and Si Yihan's immensely comforting voice came from next to her ear. The pain dissipated into nothing like it was an illusion. Yi Wanwan nodded and rubbed her tired eyes. She had probably been under too much pressure and was too busy lately. Several days later, at the Yi Group building, Yi Hongwei summoned all the senior management and called a board meeting. In the conference room, Yi Shaoan was directly sitting to Yi Hongwei's left, and Yi Yi was in the second spot with Gu Yueze to her left. On Yi Hongwei's right was Yi Mufan with Yi Wanwan sitting to the right of her brother. When the board members and senior management saw this seating arrangement, they looked at each other, bewildered, and didn't dare to even breathe loudly. Ever since the results of the Golden Orchid Awards and the events at the banquet a few days ago came out, everyone at Yi Group felt anxious. Everyone knew this company's regime was about to change. Yi Hongwei coughed lightly and said, "You must all already know these two people next to me, the president of Age of the Immortals, Yi Mufan, and the director of the Talent Recruitment Department, Yi Wanwan. Also, as everyone knows, the general manager position of Emperor Sky Entertainment is temporarily held by Gu Yueze, Mr. Gu." Yi Hongwei turned to Gu Yueze and said, "Yueze, thank you for your help during this period of time." Gu Yueze had a gentle and cultured expression as he humbly said, "Chairman Yi, you're too polite. We're all family, so it was the least I could do." Yi Yi maintained her silence next to him and wore a magnanimous and proper faint smile, but her heart had already turned stormy. In the past few days, she considered countless plans and also vainly hoped grandfather Yi wouldn't be so worry-free about Yi Mufan, but it looked like things had still progressed to the worst outcome. When Yi Hongwei heard Gu Yueze's response, he nodded with satisfaction and turned to Yi Mufan. "After this period of assessment, I'm sure everyone witnessed Mufan's abilities. Hence, I've decided that from today onwards, Mufan will take up the post of Emperor Sky Entertainment's general manager." When Yi Hongwei finished speaking, everyone was silent for a second and countless people subconsciously turned to look at Yi Shaoan and Yi Yi with some hesitation on their faces. However, there was still some scattered applause before roaring applause reverberated in the room. All the senior management couldn't help but sigh. Who would have expected that Yi Shaoting's family would manage to return one day after being kicked out like stray dogs 3 years ago? The current Yi Mufan was different than before, so it was better for them to maintain an observant attitude and avoid offending him. Moreover, he had Yi Wanwan next to him, who was such formidable support. This brother and sister duo was a real piece of work. In contrast to the grandson-in-law, Gu Yueze, the direct grandson, Yi Mufan, was much more directly related no matter how you looked at it. The result was still unclear. Yi Shaoan finally couldn't repress himself any longer when he saw everything settling in place. He harshly slapped the table. "I don't agree. Dad, don't you know this punk's personality full well? Don't you remember the hell he put the company through when he was in the company before?" Yi Hongwei's brows furrowed when he saw his second son losing his composure. Chapter 1205. 1205 Yi Hongwei sternly said, "Shaoan, I've already said the Yi Group is my blood and soul, and I won't be biased toward anyone. I only have one principle: the position will be held by whoever is capable. It's true Mufan didn't perform well before, so I gave him his deserved punishment. Now, he's used his abilities to prove himself, so I gave him an opportunity as well. If he doesn't do well, he'll also have to leave." Just as Yi Wanwan expected, grandfather Yi didn't pay Yi Shaoan's doubts any heed. What grandfather Yi cared about the most in his life was the company he founded with his life's blood. It was as he said, he only had one requirement for his heir: the position would be held by whoever was capable. The favorable impression they gained earlier was merely supplemental. The only thing that succeeded in persuading Grandfather Yi was their sheer abilities. As long as they had results to show, no matter how Yi Shaoan and Yi Yi jumped around and made a commotion, Yi Shaoan absolutely wouldn't change his mind. Especially since Grandfather Yi had never been at ease about Gu Yueze. Back then, Gu Yueze was selected merely because the Yi family was thrown into chaos and he truly had no one to fill the role, so he temporarily agreed to Gu Yueze being the interim general manager under persuasion from Yi Yi and Yi Shaoan. And so, Yi Mufan's entrance into Emperor Sky Entertainment was finalized like that. The meeting ended this gloomy atmosphere. Yi Shaoan ignored Yi Yi's advice and smacked the table before angrily leaving. Outside the conference room, Yi Yi concealed the jealousy in her eyes. Mufan, welcome back. We'll work together from now on. You can ask me anything you don't understand. Yi Mufan snorted. Perhaps he might have really been deceived by her gentle and caring sister-cousin persona in the past, but did she still think he was an idiot? Yi Mufan was about to say something when he suddenly realized both Yi Wanwan and Gu Yueze disappeared. He quietly cursed before he glowered at Yi Yi, your concern is unnecessary. Please keep a closer watch on your man and keep him away from Wanwan. Otherwise, he has no one but himself to blame for the consequences. Yi Mufan hastily ran off to look for Yi Wanwan after saying that. The second Yi Mufan turned around, Yi Yi's expression couldn't be any darker. At the end of a deserted hallway, Gu Yueze looked at the seemingly completely different Yi Wanwan and studied her appraisingly. Wanwan, congratulations. Yi Wanwan expressionlessly glanced at him. Speak frankly. Gu Yueze courteously asked, are you free tonight? Let's have a drink together. Gu Yueze's eyes were shining with a predator's glint. Gu Yueze had ingratiated himself in the Yi family for 3 years already, so his roots were nestled deeply and solidly. With Yi Mufan's current strength, he still couldn't shake Gu Yueze's position. Hence, he wasn't in a hurry and merely sat on the sidelines, planning to reap the spoils later. What interested him the most though was Yi Wanwan. This woman truly made him more and more curious. Why hadn't he discovered before that this disgusting idiot also had such a seductive side? Yi Wanwan originally didn't want to come, but for some reason, her subconscious concern for Gu Yueze made her show up. And so, she heard Gu Yueze taking the initiative to invite her out. Gu Yueze, who viewed her as a dreadful monster, actually invited her out of his own accord with such a polite attitude too. The sun had to be rising from the west. When had she not pesteringly clung to his back and ended up faced with disgust and indifference? This looks-dependent world. Chapter 1206. Gu Yueze's indifferent attitude made it seem like everything he did to her never happened. However, Yi Wanwan naturally saw the ulterior motive and desire in his eyes. Yi Wanwan looked at this man before her who pretended to be a gentleman but had lust in his eyes. She pensively asked, Gu Yueze, did I truly like you? Gu Yueze raised his brows. What do you mean? Yi Wanwan shrugged. Nothing. I just thought I was probably blind back then, and my mind wasn't thinking straight. Her mind was probably traumatized by that terrorist attack. Otherwise, why would she like someone like Gu Yueze? Gu Yueze's pupils abruptly contracted, and a sneer rose on his lips. Yi Wanwan, you can't possibly still be dreaming and delusionally want to climb into Si Yihan's bed, right? Yi Wanwan's brows raised slightly. Climb into Si Yihan's bed? I didn't, right? It's always been Si Yihan who comes to my bed to sleep with me. Yi Wanwan was about to speak when urgent footsteps came from behind her. Yi Mufan had anxiously rushed over and planted himself in front of Yi Wanwan. Gu Yueze, what do you want? Yi Wanwan didn't have any interest in continuing, so she listlessly told Yi Mufan. Brother, let's go. Yi Mufan originally wanted to give Gu Yueze a few more insults but had no choice but to turn around and catch up with Yi Wanwan. As soon as they got into the car, Yi Mufan anxiously asked, why did that jackass Gu Yueze want with you? Yi Wanwan propped her head up and offhandedly replied, perhaps he wanted to reminisce the past with me. Yi Mufan lowly cursed. Shit. Reminisce the past. Bullshit. That jerk simply wants to seduce you because you always chased after him but suddenly started ignoring him, underwent such a drastic transformation and turned out so pretty. That scum. Wan, you mustn't be deceived by him. I understand people like him too well. The corners of Yi Wan's lips twitched. He truly deserved to be called a well-seasoned womanizer. His grasp of this scum's mindset was very accurate. After they left the company, Yi Wan had a meal with her family. As soon as they sat down, Yi Xiaoting and Liang Wanjun started to reproach and denounce Yi Mufan. Yi Xiaoting said, "Mufan, what's wrong with you? How could you hide such an important matter from us? Your sister had to venture in this industry as a girl. What would we do if anything dangerous happened to her?" Yi Mufan retorted, "Isn't this why she presented herself as a guy? So that she wouldn't be in danger. Looking like a guy isn't safe either." Liang Wanjun interrupted before Yi Mufan could finish speaking. Yi Mufan, Yi Wan quickly said, "Dad, Mom, don't blame brother. It was me who made brother help me hide it from you precisely because I was afraid you'd worry. Look, aren't I just fine? Brother protected me very well." Yi Xiaoting's anger finally dispersed slightly, but his expression was still dark when he said, Wan, this house was the term you set with Chu Hongguang, wasn't it? Back then, Wan said the house was reclaimed with her friend, Yi Bai's, help. Only now did they realize it was their daughter who laboriously worked hard on the outside all along. As soon as Yi Xiaoting and Liang Wanjun realized that, their hearts ached immensely. Wan, it's Dad's uselessness that forced you to work so hard. Yi Xiaoting's face was full of heartache. Yi Wan quickly feigned anger and said, "Dad, we're family. Don't mention it. Brother and I are still inexperienced in many things. It's only because you were coaching us from the side that we were so successful. Without you, we wouldn't have succeeded. You're our light post." You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.